maker of this engine is not known, but it is thought to be a copy of a British engine. The engine was part of the engine driving school at the Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology, RMIT. The driving school taught the operation of boilers, steam engines and turbines until it was disbanded in 1969. The club was able to purchase this and several other engines by tender. This engine was used at the Colonial Gas Association's Footscray Gasworks to drive a gas exhauster and was built between 1902 and 1917. The exhauster was used to draw the gas produced in the retorts through various stages of purification. The working history of this engine is not known. It was purchased in 1973 from machinery dealers Miller & Co. It is thought to have been built around 1910 and may have originally been used in a sawmill. This engine was built in 1916 for the Public Works Department. It was used to power a dredge built by the Public Works Department at the State Shipping Yards in Williamstown. The dredge was used in Bendigo between 1916 and the early 1920s to remove sludge from the Bendigo Creek. This ammonia compressor was used at the Colonial Gas Association's Footscray Gasworks. Ammonia is a byproduct of town gas production and was compressed for storage and handling. This engine was built in 1960, near the end of steam engine production. This particular engine was used by the Metropolitan Gas Company in their West Melbourne gasworks. This air compressor was made around 1925 and was used at the Spencer Street Power Station, built in 1893, which was originally used to provide power for street lighting. When the power station was closed in the early 80s, it was donated to RMIT and subsequently acquired by the club. This engine was last used at the engine driving school at RMIT. It was donated to the college in 1947 by Australian paper manufacturers. This engine was purpose-built for RMIT in Melbourne as a teaching engine and could be set up to run using the high-pressure cylinder, the low-pressure cylinder, or both cylinders as a compound engine. This engine was made in 1911 and was originally used to generate electricity at the engineering firm of Robinson Brothers and Company, based in South Melbourne. The design of this engine was an important step in the evolution of steam engines in that it contained an enclosed, forced lubrication system. This marine engine was built around 1891. It was fitted to one of several steam launches built by Buchanan and Brock at their Yarrabank works in South Melbourne for the Victorian Defence Department. It was later acquired by RMIT and passed to the club in 1969. This small engine was fitted to an economiser. Economisers are fitted between a boiler and the chimney to recover waste heat to improve the efficiency of the boiler. This engine powered scrapers, which moved up and down the outside of the pipes to keep them free from soot. This engine was used at Izard's sawmill at Swift's Creek in Gippsland. It was one of many second-hand steam engines at the mill. This design, which was awarded a medal at the Paris exhibition in 1878, was a popular engine and built in large numbers for over 30 years. This engine was used at the driving school at RMIT in Melbourne until 1969 and originated from the Chewton gold mine. This particular engine, the smallest of 10 in the M-Class range, is fitted with Stephenson's reversing gear. This engine and generator was built in 1914 and installed on the Melbourne Harbour Trust bucket ladder dredge George Commode to provide lighting. This engine was made around 1912 and was originally used to generate electricity at the Gippsland Cooperative Bacon Curing Company. This generator set is typical of the many hundreds of steam-powered generators used in factories and mines between the 1890s and the 1920s. This engine was purpose-built in 1930 for student instruction and could originally be set up to run on gas, diesel or petrol. It was donated to the club by RMIT in 1978. This engine was sold to J. Barry of Henty, New South Wales in 1928, where it was used to run a generator at a sawmill. It was donated to the club in 1993. This engine was purchased new by the Commonwealth Federal Reserve Bank for use as a standby generator at its note printing branch in Fitzroy. It was donated to the club in 1986 when the note printing branch was relocated to Craigieburn. This engine was part of the standby generator set supplied new to the AMP Society around 1929 for use in their building located on the corner of Market and Collins Street in Melbourne. It was started by compressed air to cylinders 2 and 3 and cooled by water gravity fed from an overhead tank. This engine and alternator set was originally installed as the standby power generator for the Age newspaper in their Flinders Street building. When the Age moved to new premises in the 1970s, it was sold to Prince's Laundry and was subsequently donated to the club in 1998.